Bombshell news as AH's paid enforcer not only admits to intimidation and harassment for AH on the record, but get this, decides to get even for AH. This is the PI that AH's team hired to dig up dirt on JD. The one that came back said, I can't find anything on JD. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to back the man instead. Yeah, they've decided to target him in real life. They're taking him into the courtroom with a TRO. I imagine this stuff has cost him thousands of dollars, and the things that they're saying about him, it is absolutely crazy. I'm going to ask you to share this everywhere too. Why? Because the guy that is behind this has filed multiple false police reports all over the country. He is doing this while having an extensive criminal background. That works into the allegations of being hired to do terrible things. Yeah, he's targeting somebody because they backed JD. He doesn't like that stuff. You and we're going to talk about that and much more today too. Crazy times, huh? Crazy times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day. By the way, I hope you are doing excellently. Imagine someone that is admitted they were in a criminal conspiracy with AH to target JD, really to target people around him too, targeting people that AH doesn't like. Imagine that. These are their own words, by the way. I'll tell you where they come from in just a moment. My name is Richie Albertini. I was in a conspiracy with AH, with Eric George, with Richard Swartz and Eric George to intimidate, harass, annoy JD in an effort to destroy his reputation, ruin his career, stress him out, and make him drop his lawsuit against AH. Now that's attached as evidence to a filing for a protective order. Somebody is asking law enforcement to keep this guy away. I found 4 of these. 3 were filed by women, a co-worker, this person online. You also have his own mother that has filed one, and the deeds he described doing in his conspiracy with AH, the ones that the TROs and the petitions, they also detail. Yeah, it looks like they never stopped. If you look right here, you'll see one of multiple false police report filings. There are police reports filed in Florida, New Orleans, Tennessee, South Carolina, LA. And when I say LA, I'm talking Rampart, Hollywood, West Hollywood, and the FBI. And notice, he doesn't just target JD. He also targets people that AH openly doesn't like, just like he said he does, by the way. You can see my name right here in a police report. He added me in one in my state, plus an FBI report as well. But that pales in comparison to the things that he has aimed at the Hollywood fixer / PI that she hired, but that ended up backing JD, and that she openly had her team target in the news and more. I'm going to ask you to share this absolutely everywhere. Why? Because the person that said that they were in a conspiracy with AH, they are targeting this Hollywood fixer / PI to the point they're going beyond the police reports now. They know that those didn't work out. They said LA wouldn't listen to them anymore. They know the Fed isn't paying attention. So they filed a TRO, or a temporary restraining order request. This was filed September the 13th, 2022, and has a hearing on it coming up mid to late October. Now it needs to be called out in everywhere too. Why? Because the person that admittedly conspired to harass and intimidate people with AH, they're given the power to do exactly that. If you look at this filing here, the court, they grant temporary orders checked as granted below. So they are automatically granted to the person that's filing this. If you don't obey these orders, you can be arrested and charged with a crime. You may be sent to jail for up to a year, pay a fine of up to $1,000, or both. Now, if you look at number 2 here, this talks about contacting a person either directly or indirectly. Now, it mentions many a way of doing this, including public methods by any other electronic means. And what's crazy is that you have an ex-felon that is utilizing that to intimidate someone into silence while working with another ex-felon. This ex-felon here, by the way, was involved in one of the biggest police corruption scandals to ever rock the United States, went away for that for a while, and they messed up in their allegations here. You know, they told you, again, hey, work for AH. Well, how do you know this, party? He didn't work for AH. No, he's a private investigator for JD. That's right. By the way, you know, what cases have you ever been involved in? He notes, I was involved in JD versus AH 2019. There wasn't a 2019. He says the description of that, he called to say that he would end me. He showed up at my home, and you'll notice as part of that work that he claims with AH, he brings up JD's name again and again. I mean, it comes up over and over repeatedly while he's saying that this poor guy here, well, how did he do this stuff to you? Yeah, he made threats. Somehow, in some way, he incited violence. How? Have no idea. Number 3, slander. I find that to be especially interesting considering this guy made an hour-and-a-half call to DCS in California in which, amongst other things, he talks about ritual sacrifice and more. Craziest thing I've ever heard. But he also says blackmail and, well, number 5, question mark. There's so much I don't even know anymore. He says there's been telephone threats, recording. He showed up in my former home now. It was home, but now it's former home. After saying he was going to hit me, he also says, well, you know, does that person have a weapon? Well, he said he does. He works for JD. How did he injure you? Mentally. Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you were already injured in that. You've been injured for a long time. Get professional help. How long has this been going on? Since 2019. Right. The worst thing about this is that the police, they've been told about this guy. The feds, they've been told too. I mean, he has filed so many false complaints, and yet they do absolutely nothing about it. This is a guy, again, that admittedly conspires with other people. He tells you while he's doing that he's worked with people in powerful positions. He's done terrible things on their behalf. Yeah, it looks like he's still doing that. Again, ex-felon here. Person with an extensive record. He has had plenty of people file things about him. He's still going. Yeah, this needs to be called out. It needs to be pointed out to everyone, and I hope you'll do that. Anyway, leave comments here. I want to know what you think about this stuff. And also, you want to support the channel? There are links in the description. Definitely check those out. We could always use your help. But also, make sure that you support Paul Baresi. Make sure you tell him people are in his corner. People know what he did. Bravo to speaking up to, and he's not going to stand alone.